In this example, I want to go over how to set up a parallax scrolling example from start to finish. And what I mean by this is to create a longer scrolling background that moves across your composition to create a much more dynamically spaced animation. So for example, I have this galaxy scene that I'm going to work with. And if I look at this, this is set up to be 1080 pixels in height because I want it to be the same size as 1920 by 1080 for my composition, and a width of 3000 pixels. So I'm making this super long. And if I want it to move across my scene, I need to make it longer so that way there's more space to work with. And then this is just saved as a stars layer and a galaxy layer, but this is all going to be compressed into one image. And I've also created a comet. And if we look at my Photoshop, I'm going to bring in a Pluto and a Jupiter. So to go to After Effects, I'm going to double click in my project window, go to all of my items. So I'm going to bring in space and import this. And I just want to bring it in as footage. I'm going to bring in my comet, Pluto, and Jupiter. And all of these I'm going to bring in as footage. When you bring in multiple, it will tend to recognize it as footage rather than separate compositions. So that's just something to consider. What I'm going to do first is bring space and drag and drop it on top of my composition icon. And that's going to make a composition that's the exact same size as my scene. And so in here, if I want something like Pluto and, let's put this here, and Jupiter, put this over here, and maybe we should size them down to the right size. Maybe it's a little bit bigger. If I want these to like rotate in my scene, for example, what I'm going to do is press R for rotation, jump forward to the end, and we're just going to do one rotation. And for Jupiter, I'm going to hit R for rotation, jump forward to the end, and I'm going to do 2 rotations. So maybe this one rotates a little bit faster. So then if we look at this, we have embedded animation happening here. So what I can then do is if I make a composition that is empty to start out, and I want to make it the size that I'm working with, so standard HD size, 1920 by 1080, I then take my space composition and drag it inside here, and you can see how this is much wider than my initial scene, but it has that embedded animation in here. So what I can then do is say, actually, I want it to start all the way over here and scroll from this side all the way over. So I'm going to hit P for position, jump forward to the end of my scene, and I can use my arrow keys just to push it back. And so now we have this movement inside a larger spectrum of movement, which is really kind of nice. And then I could add animation on top of this. So I have my comet that is here, and maybe I want this to move across my scene. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to reposition my anchor point here. And let's do R for rotation. It's going to have this rotate here. And if I want this to start off the edge, and I'm going to wait to start this, so maybe it'll happen at like 6 seconds. Move this forward, jump to 10 seconds, and this is going to move, hit P for position, jump forward to 10 seconds, and then we can move this going across. And I might want it to angle out, so I'm going to change my points here. If I jump back to this one, there we go. So now we'll have this sort of zoom across as it's moving across the background. Maybe that's happening a little too slowly. But I can then add something like a glow to make it a little bit brighter. I'm going to drag and drop this onto my comet. And let's increase the glow radius so it just gets a little bit brighter. So now I've got some glow attached to it, and we can watch these 2 animations kind of happen simultaneously. So you can embed other elements together, and that's kind of nice, right? You could do a lot more. You could add an echo, you could add other things, but this is one way to sort of simplify your process because it's easier to move the whole scene of space rather than trying to parent all these items together and have them move along with it.